Alright, I know it's kind of dark and you can't see, but it's a 7/8 inch nut that's on that shaft. So I could just try and undo it. But then it occurred to me, as it loosens, it may want to start turning the shaft of the pump, and there might not be anything to stop that from happening because I took out those cap screws. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to reinsert one of the cap screws. Where's my light? I'm holding the light in my mouth. Yeah, so anyways, see that big nut right there? I want to take that off. And I don't want, when I go to unscrew that, I don't want that shaft in the middle there to start rotating freely. So what's going to stop that? If I put... Oh. There you go, I put a cap screw back in, and that can't turn unless it ends up turning the whole crankshaft, which hopefully it won't, but if it does, it does. C'est la vie. Turning the whole crankshaft. You know, I suppose they did something nasty like, oh, I don't know, made that a reverse thread? Huh. Try and go the other way. Flashlight in my mouth. Trying to go the other way is what I said. Turning the whole crankshaft over. That ain't working. What happens if I do take the cap screw out? No, I don't want to do that, right? No, I don't want to do that. Well, the lights from the house are working pretty good on this side. Problem is, I'm working on this side. So, I'm trying to finish this job via flashlight. Anyways, so I think now the plan is going to be to, as they say, bar the engine. Well, my version of barring the engine involves just throwing my big monkey wrench on that U-joint in front of the crankshaft and trying to keep the crankshaft from moving, and then seeing if I can loosen that big nut. So, without further ado, oh my! I couldn't get that to unscrew. It was very tight, and then all of a sudden, it felt like it pulled out a little, and I gave it a little bit of a pull, and the whole thing just pulled right out. How do you like them apples? So, looks like I'll have to deal with getting that out of there. Getting this gear off of the shaft later, maybe? That looks like where my finger's pointing right there, if you can see it. I don't know what the camera's looking at right now. Hold on a second. Right there. Come on. Right there is the infamous, I believe what they call the umbrella seal. Which that's the seal that you gotta be real careful when you're reinstalling that shaft, that it doesn't get flipped over on itself or something like that. And because if that one, if that happens, what happens is then you get fluid leaking like crazy. And that bushing looking sucker in there with all the scratches in it, that I believe is what is called the pilot tube. I believe that is what that shaft right there rides in. And I believe that that is can be a cause of why those seals will flip over on you. Looks scratched up, but it doesn't have a bad feel to it. It doesn't feel like it's deep gouges. But anyways, all right. So now I'm looks like 3 nuts away from removing this thing off the tractor altogether, so I can get into where I can see and where it's warmer. Oh, isn't this lovely? I loosened up these 2 cap screws that I could get to, or nuts I should say, on these 2 studs, and it started pulling away from the motor. And I said, wait a minute, there's supposed to be one on the back side there, and there is, but if you look underneath there, it was never tightened. Do you think maybe they had a hard time getting to that one and they just said, ah, the hell with it, tighten the 2 ones in the front? I'd be willing to bet you that's what they did. And I can't say I blame them. That is in a bad spot. Makes you wonder, what was the intent? Take this, I don't know, does that plate come off of that? Doesn't look like it does. No, I don't know. Alright, well, see if I can't get that off. Good thing that nut was loose, because I wouldn't have gotten it off. It was finger tight. I was able to actually get my fingers in there and work it. And when it comes to putting this back together and tightening it on, I'm going to have to modify a wrench, or come up with maybe one of those C-shaped wrenches. There isn't enough clearance to get a open-end wrench head in there, but there's just enough clearance to slip a closed-end wrench onto there. But then my closed-end wrenches, even my shortest one, it hits this pipe here and doesn't give me any clearance to swing it. But if it was a C-shaped wrench, I think that's what you call them. You know, it's a closed-end wrench that the handle kind of comes like this and makes a C shape and comes back up, and usually has another closed-end size on the opposite side. I think that would work perfectly right here. I don't have one of those. I might have to buy one, but it is a good investment for my purposes, because I don't want to leave that loose like they did. That might be why the timing was a little off. Alright, now I'm going to work together nuts all the way off. I mean, the way this is put together, you can't even take this top nut off because it hits the body of the pump. So you got to basically slide the pump back as you unscrew it. And then, of course, I want to make sure my washers don't get lost. Okay, that was the last piece of the puzzle. Now I can take my pump and go home. Oh yeah, forgot about the, remember I talked about the shutoff cable, the shutdown cable. Again, almost impossible to get to on the back side here, but when the pump is in this position, piece of cake. What do we got there? Now we got a set screw on the back side there, so I just gotta loosen the set screw and the cable should slide right out. Alright, last thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to get any loose RTV sealant slug, you know, disgusting RTV that's just hanging off of there. I'm going to get that off so I can put that cover back on to protect the inside of the motor there. Don't want any birds nesting in there or whatever. Ha ha ha. But point is, I want to close it up. See, that kind of makes my point about the RTV. You see that big slurry of RTV that no longer is attached there and it's just kind of hanging on. You can imagine if a big chunk of that rubbery substance falls off down at the crankcase and gets churned around there and broken up into small enough pieces that it gets into the oil galleys in that, and next thing you know, you got like a coronary arteries type of situation going there, and you're starving something from oil. Just a theory, but still, don't want that in there. Ooh, some more good news. that missing bolt hole, it accepts the cap screw no problem. So it's not a broken off bolt. It's just they must have lost one, and somebody said get her done and filled the hole with RTV. Well, cleaning up my tools, getting ready to put everything away, put my hardware away. Realized I dropped one of the tiny screws for the little axis, the little timing window cover. And look at that right there. I should buy a lottery ticket tonight. Because that was just pure luck that I found it.